Hello, and welcome back to another episode on my single-player survival world. I am the Survival Architect, you can call me Liv, and today is a very, very special episode because not only are we at 25 episodes into my single-player survival world, 25 episodes of work, we are also at exactly 1,000 days, which you can see from the bottom middle of my screen. Day 1,000 next to local difficulty. 1,000 days. We've done an awful lot of work in that time. So, instead of doing some work in this video, we're going to do something a bit different and take a look around the world so far. So, the first thing we're going to do is jump straight into a little musical montage that I've already edited together to show you everything that we've done so far that is still standing. So, let's jump into it now. Hopefully you enjoyed that little montage that I just put together for you of all the notable builds in this world. It took me a little bit of time to put together, so if you could show some appreciation for it in the comments down below, that would be fantastic. But what we're going to do now is take a little bit of a tour around the world, a guided tour from me, the person who owns this world, and I'm going to show you kind of the notable things and explain their reason for build, etc. Kind of basically why they were built, what they are, and their current purpose in the world. So we're going to start out with the earliest builds in this world and then move through into the later ones. I'll go kind of by episode and kind of just by the important ones, but that's all you really need to know. So let's pop over into our starter area now. I'm currently standing about 200 blocks from our main base, the entrance of which is over there, in what I like to call our starter area. Now, this place doesn't actually really resemble the starter area we started out in, because I only refurbish it once I actually moved out of here. There's a couple of creeper holes around that I haven't bothered to fix, and there's still a couple of chests, but really, this place is a lot cleaner than when I was here. There used to be a dripstone thing hanging out of the side of this building here. There were shulker boxes everywhere. There's still like half a chest monster over here that I've mostly cleaned up. And this house here is actually completely different to the one that we started with. So if I remember, I'll put an image on the screen now for what our old starter base looked like. But this thing looks significantly better. It's slightly asymmetrical, which I actually really like. This side over here, pointed at my screen, I don't know why I did that. This side over here is slightly wider than this side over here on the front bit, but there's also a back section out here that is slightly wider here than it is over there. Now, this place looks really, really pretty. There's still some details on the outside that I'd like to do, like some terraforming, and I'd like to take that into the entire village in and of itself, but that can come at a later date. That'll probably come another 10 episodes down the line. The place where this build really shines is on its interior. There's a lot of really cool decorations in here that make the place feel very, very alive. In the floor here, we have the Axolotl Sanctuary. That was a recent episode where I don't know what to call them, they haven't really left a message, but they sent me on a quest to find and rescue a whole bunch of axolotls. And the first one was to put a bunch of axolotls in this space here. And I think I've done a pretty good job with it. It took me about an hour to get everything set up, but really it was worth it. Our Enchanting Setup is also over here with some pretty interesting bookshelf designs. Obviously, this is already set up for a level 30 enchant, but I've hung some bookshelves from the roofs, added some extra workstations in here. So here's our loom, here's a crafting table, and an anvil is in here as well. But really, this place looks quite nice. The other thing that I've done is over here, added like a little bathroom area with some armor sand magic using shields to make this little towel. There's some storage under the floor in the form of shulker boxes, and there's also a nether portal. Out here in the village, in our starter village, this was a normal village full of villagers. They all got killed when mobs came along. But since then, I've refurbished it. I've made it look a whole lot nicer. This was a well. I've made it look pretty cool, honestly. I really like this design. All of these buildings have been refurbished in some description by me. All I need to do now is the terraforming around the village, which I'm not going to do today. I'm going to do it at another time. I need to do the terraforming around the village and bring in some villagers. So that'll be a project in and of itself in a few episodes' time. We'll put a wall around the place, get some villagers in, and just generally make this place look a lot better. We'll also put a building here, but I never got around to that. So we'll be back over here in a few episodes' time, but what we need to do now is move on to the first major farm we built in this world, which is over yonder. So I'm going to pop over there now. We are currently standing in the jewel of all spawner-based farms. This is my quintuple cave spider spawner, and this stone block here is where you can stand to activate all 5 at once. If I just grab out my sword and start slashing away at these guys, you can see there is an awful lot of them that build up, and they just keep coming. You can gain an awful lot of levels from this place. And you can tell that I've used it a lot, because if I go into my statistics, go into mobs, and then down to cave spider, I've killed 29,000 of the things. This is the first really major farming area that I put together, and up above there is a bee farm, which I'll show you in a bit. But if I just come out here and then drop down, you can see that there are legitimately 5 cave spider spawners here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 5 down here, and you can see the number of spiders that are just floating towards the exit. Honestly, there's not really a good way to put this together because they are spiders. They kind of suck, but this is the most efficient thing I could come up with. It works really, really well. I've killed 29,000. I've gained a few thousand levels from these guys. It's been a lot. You also do get a fair bit of glow squid ink from it. It's all sitting in the chest up above. This place is really efficient. I used this for a long time before we put together our furnace-based XP farm, which I will show off in a bit, don't you worry. But if I can land this, now that we're back in here, I'm going to pop straight up the top here to show you the bee farm. Now, I put together the bee farm off camera, but it's just here. Now, I haven't really been AFK over here that much. Not since I built my Shulker Sorter, but you can see that these guys have produced a fair bit of honey in my life, and I'm actually out of honey bottles currently. There's not enough honey bottles to let the from number 3 here, from number 4 all the way across. Don't have enough honey bottles for that. So, I've messed up. I'll fix it later. There's not enough honey bottles to make these guys be able to use their farms correctly. So, it's just these 3 producing honey for me. And I've only got 3 honey blocks there, but that's okay. Up here is where all the storage system for the cave spider stuff is. You can see all these are full of string. Not those. These are all full of string, and there's some with spider eyes in them too. Here. And cave spider heads too. That's all up here as well. So, this has been my cave spider farming area, and subsequently bee farming area. I don't know what that bee there is doing, but it's doing something. What I'm going to do now is pop back through into the base and show off the farms that are over there before I show off the main signature attraction for this world, which is obviously the exterior decoration of the base. So, we're going to pop through into the other farms now, and I'll be back in just a moment. Another major project that we've worked on in this series is our village area, and you can see it from the top here. This is a ravine that I am still in the process of figuring out. I still need to do the stonework on either end, but in the middle here is a ravine town that I put together with a set of different buildings that hold different parts of our villager setup. So here is the villager breeder area. I'm just going to go in. In here is our villager breeder area. Now, I haven't really used this area in particular in a while, but there's a whole bunch of villagers here ready to go and a whole bunch of minecarts somewhere in that dispenser underneath them. In here, there's also 2 villager breeders. It's pretty much just there to pump out villagers when I need them. And it's been decorated in both of those areas in kind of like a lab setting, although it's not quite good enough yet. Down here is our librarian area. Now, it's not got every book imaginable, but I don't need every book imaginable because I have really good stuff already. What's really important is all the books I might need are in here, and I can also trade for a whole bunch of emeralds. These guys are pretty useful, and I really like this room, especially the floor. The mix of deep slate, cobbled deep slate, and smooth basalt really comes together to make this floor feel solid. And then up here in the roof, it's a very cave style with these pillars holding up the roof. So that's our librarian area. Down here is where we get a lot of our emeralds from the farmers. In these boxes are a whole bunch of pumpkins and melons that I just haven't been bothered to move. And it seems like they've broken a lot of the farmland. So that's our farmer area. Up here was where our blacksmiths were and our weaponsmiths, but they all died somehow. I'm going to replace these eventually. I just can't be bothered right this moment. And then down here is our bank area. This was like a armor stand experiment. We don't talk about it. In here, oh, 2 of them have died. Interesting. In here is where we get most of our emeralds from. So what I do is I come up here and I trade for a whole bunch of glass. Come over to this crafting table, conveniently situated up here, and convert it into glass panes, and then trade with these guys. Although, apparently, yeah, here, glass panes are pretty cheap for some of these guys. So 1 emerald for 1 glass pane. That's how I get all my emeralds. And then down here is the last bit. It's where all our masons are held, so there's about 7 in here, and they trade for things like stone and bricks. If I ever need extra emeralds, always good to trade stone, andesite, granite, it's all here. So that's all of our villager area kind of wrapped up in a nice little bow. I come down here every now and then to get a bunch of emeralds if I need, but really, it's not used that much anymore. The other thing is this has been decorated. I did all the stonework around here, although apparently I didn't break some of my scaffolding. I've done all the stonework around here, or most of it, and I've also decorated the floor with some moss and some leaves, and some vines, obviously, although these vines have grown a lot more than I expected. Anyway, there's a couple more projects that we need to go and visit before the end of this episode, so I'm going to jump over to them now. I'm here over at one of our other major projects for this world. We spent about an episode on it. This is my iron farm. Now, it took about a day and a half to design this thing. It's a nether-based farm, so essentially the golems spawn and immediately transported to the nether. I'm currently working on a more efficient version of this, but that's the essence behind it. They spawn in these platforms here that are 5 wide, get immediately pushed right across into the portal, or into a portal, and then they appear in the nether where they get dropped into lava. Now this thing's pretty efficient. It produces about 2,000 iron an hour, 1,000 for each layer. So I could keep building this up to the sky limit if I had enough villagers and enough patience, but I don't. So we're not doing that. Instead, we're just going to settle for 2,000 iron an hour, which honestly is pretty good. This thing's pretty productive. To get to all the items, it's all in the nether. You can see up there is a chunk loader. That's essentially to make sure that the nether side is also loaded and it actually produces iron rather than golems just disappearing and despawning. These platforms are also 15 blocks apart, so that the villagers all kind of don't interfere with one another. It's a bit painful to set up, but once there's a tutorial on my channel, go and check that out if you want to build the thing. I've AFK'd here a lot. You can probably tell from the random holes in the area. I've also spawn-proofed that entire area so that no golems can spawn, and I mean there are some golems under the ocean from what I remember, but that's not important. We don't need to talk about that. So that's the iron farm. We will now pop over to the main attraction, which is of course my main survival base. So let's head over there now. I am now flying back into my base, and you can see that this thing is still as impressive as it was when I first built these mountains. Now, it was only a few episodes ago when I actually constructed these mountains, and it took a lot of time and a lot of effort to put together, and they're still not done. They're still hollow around the back, they aren't detailed, there's a lot of work to do. But, for all intents and purposes, this place looks amazing. I've never had a base that I've liked this much, and I really, really want to keep working on it. So that'll be that'll probably be the next single player survival video. It's going to take a little while to put together because I want to finish the mountains, but honestly, this place is one of the coolest bases I've ever put together. This here in the middle is a shulker box loader. This is a tileable shulker box loader, so it's the most popular video on my channel. You guys seem to love it. Essentially, it loads all the shulker boxes with a designated item. Once they're full, it drops them out that black chute in the bottom there into our base down below. Now, this area is purely for decoration. I could have done this any other way. Most of my base is underground, but I love this. I absolutely love it. Now, there's also a full set of beacon effects covering the entire base, all the way down to Y level 30. So that's the whole point of this area up here. It's just to look cool, honestly. Now, the lore behind this is pretty interesting. If you haven't realized this before, this is essentially like a black hole. I don't know why I'm getting some visual effects on there, but that's okay. This is essentially a black hole, and it's 8 layers of glass, black stained glass, that have all been layered up down there. The point, this here is thought of as a lab. So like someone's come along, been like, oh, sick. There's some anomaly here. Some scientists have come along, set up a lab on top of it and the one underneath it to kind of study it, figure out what's going on, and make sure that there's nothing nefarious happening with this black hole. And then obviously, it's not actually a lab, it's my base, but that's the lore behind it, and that's why everything has been decorated in this modern style. Now, you'll see it with the base down below as well. The thing I want to do up here as well is just see these supports. I want to also put one over there and one on this side as well. But now we need to hop down into the base, or the place that is used the most, which is of course my storage area. Now, this cave area that I'm flying through isn't finished yet, but this place was put together pretty early on, just after we did the black hole up above. That entrance is relatively new, but honestly, there's some pretty cool stuff down here. Here is my Nether Room. You've definitely seen this before. This is a piston door that's expandable. Pretty cool contraption that I've put together. I really like it, and it also opens from both sides. So this is like a server room that stores data from obviously all the experiments that are happening up above. This storage room is extensive. There's rows here, up here as well. And all the way down there are all rows for my storage system. In there is a map room, which I'm not going to show off. I've showed it off in the last episode. And down here is where my tileable Shulker Sorter is. Now, I can turn on and off all my farms from here. Currently, I only have 5 in the actual base. Melon, pumpkin, dripstone, carrot, and sugarcane. Now, back here is where the Shulker Sorter is. Now, it's kind of a mess to see from that side, but over here you can really see the contraption in its fullest. There's a contraption there that takes one item out of each Shulker box, and then this whole system over here is to detect what that item is, unlock some hoppers, and get the item back into the Shulker box. And it works really well. If I come over here to, I think this is the melon one, you can see that all of these are full. Every single one is full of items, which means that the item has been taken out, sorted, put back into the Shulker box, and broken. This is a really cool contraption that I've put together. It works really quickly. It's a bit laggy because of all the components that are around, but I don't know how to fix that. So I'm not going to fix that. But honestly, it's a really cool contraption and one of the jewels of my base. The other section of my base that you guys haven't seen that much is down here. So if you go down this corridor, there's a few rooms that I don't really show off on camera that much. In here is my menagerie, I guess you could call it. It's essentially a collection of some of the rarest animals in Minecraft. There's some bees in there. There's a brown panda here. This one is empty, some brown mushrooms, a 15-slot llama, and a charged creeper. And essentially, because this place is a lab, and because it's in a Minecraft world, I thought maybe this could be like a experimentation room. Oh, and there's also a phantom here. An experimentation room for a number of rare animals in this game. Now, some of these were a real pain to transport. This charged creeper, never again. Never again. This phantom, nope. I'm not doing it. The bees were fine. This guy wasn't too bad. I just had to find him. These guys, I had to wait for a thunderstorm, but again, not too bad. But yeah, charged creeper, phantom, never again. Now down here is also another area of my base. In here this is my lava farm. It uses dripstone mechanics to fill up the buckets and the cauldrons. Sorry. Essentially, you flick this lever, and you can hear everything starting to fire. And now all the cauldrons are rotating around the farm. Flick this lever again, put that bucket back in its chest, and the farm stops. Now there's a line of hoppers underneath here that takes the buckets across into this, which is a sort of super smelter. There's a cactus farm sitting behind. Actually, it's above this roof. You can see it dripping from the roof there. But there's a cactus farm there, and essentially the whole point is it smelts cactus into green dye whenever I flick this T flip-flop across. Smelts cactus into green dye. If they'll all turn on, that'd be great. For a quick experience boost. So if I just press this button again and take a whole bunch of green dye out, you can see that I have 67 levels now from 39. This place stores an awful lot of XP. That's the whole point of it. It stores XP. Cactus gives you a full XP point every time you smelt it, not just like 0.5 or something. So it's a really efficient way of getting an awful lot of XP stored up really, really easily. And then when I have a tool that's pretty close to breaking, none of mine are right now, but let's say it was this here, take this out, the whole thing's repaired, and I'm up to 83 levels now. So that's the whole point of this room. It's pretty cool, but we have more stuff that we need to look at. With everything in the base having already been shown off, this is the last thing I want to show you in this video, and this is actually a massive work in progress. And when I say massive, I mean massive. It extends all the way over there. It's like 50 blocks in every direction, maybe it's a stack of blocks in every direction, I don't remember, but this place is huge. This is essentially where my nether hub is going to be, and when it's done, there's not going to be all these magma cubes jumping around. There's going to be glass on the floor to make sure that there's no magma cubes spawning. This place will be safe, but it will be for my nether portals. Now, up there, you might have seen me drop out of it, is where I currently have all my nether portals. And it's just not working. I want a pretty nether hub, not a terrible set of tunnels in the roof of the nether. Nope, we're having this down here. Now there will be tunnels that go off in all sorts of directions, probably over to my wither skeleton farm, which is over yonder. Not going to show that off today. Probably off over to my blaze farm, which is over there, and to other farms in this world. There's the cave spider spawner that has its own nether portal, and that's over there somewhere. But in general, I'm going to need this nether hub. Now the plan is to make this into a kind of rendition of the overworld using some stained terracotta, maybe some concrete. We'll see how it goes. That's the plan. First thing I need to do though is to finish up these platforms and then get all the blocks cleared, and then we can start work on it. But this place is still a massive work in progress, and there's still a bunch of stone here for me to fill out all these platforms. So that's the last thing I want to show you. So what we're going to do now is pop back through into our main base where I can say farewell for this video. That is all I have time for in today's video. We've done an awful lot of work in the first 1,000 days of this world. There's been an awful lot done. I've collected an awful lot of resources, I've done an awful lot of building, and you guys have been along for the ride. Now, if you want to see the entire playlist, I'll leave the link for that in the description. It's also available on my channel. If you want to see more stuff from me, there's another series on this channel. It's called the Argus SMP. I play that with my friend Melon. He's currently doing an awful lot of work on it because he's stuck in isolation, thanks COVID. We're in Australia. COVID's being annoying right now. It's fine. It's just... So he's stuck in isolation and doing an awful lot of work on the Argus SMP. So if you want to check that out, that's also on my channel. I'll leave a link to that playlist in the description. If you want to see more stuff from me, I publish a video every 4 days. So subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.